Even before we start, we can sense that many of you are filled with indignation or even outrage at the title of this video. But please, hold your equus. What's equus? Well, horses. In Latin, hold your horses. But why Latin? Because that's where the word virtue comes from. Exploring the etymology of words can uncover hidden meanings and offer insights into the cultural and social contexts that shape them. Welcome to CЯITICALISTHЫNNICS, and we are about to argue that women should not be virtuous. It all starts in ancient Rome with the Latin word vir, meaning man or manhood. So, could we call all men in ancient Rome vir? Well, no. The Romans idealized masculinity, and vir specifically referred to a certain kind of man, a strong, courageous, and noble adult. On the other hand, a boy, an elderly person, a slave, or even a coward would not qualify as vir. What about women? Unfortunately, Latin had no single word for women as exalted as vir. There was femina, the primary word for woman, which comes from a Proto-Indo-European root, meaning one who suckles. Unlike vir, which signified a man of power and public standing, femina defined a woman only in terms of her biological function and maternal identity. There was also molia, the term for an adult or married woman, which in the context of ancient Rome most likely referred to someone who exerted herself in the labor of childbirth and household duties. Ancient Rome was deeply patriarchal. Women were legally under the authority of their father or husband. They were not allowed to vote, hold political office, or serve in the military. But let's get back to vir, from which we get virtus, which means the qualities of being a man. Qualities such as strength, valor, integrity, and honor. And yes, the word virtue comes from virtus, literally manliness. But didn't they have words for the qualities of a woman? They did. Primarily, pudicitia, meaning chastity or modesty. They also had silentium, meaning silence, and obedientia, meaning obedience. Men were admired for what they did. Women were admired for what they didn't do. Virtus was active, pudicitia was restrictive. It was a patriarchal control mechanism, dressed up as morality. In fact, a woman's very worth was tied to her chastity. Unlike men who might be judged by their public achievements, women were primarily judged by their sexual behavior and moral purity, making their reputation incredibly susceptible to damage. When Lucretia, a noblewoman in ancient Rome, was assaulted by the king's son, she was a victim, but patriarchy had taught her that her worth was already gone. So she took her life to preserve her family's honor. Because virtus was inherently gendered, it could only be in a man. In extremely rare cases, when a woman showed exceptional bravery, honor, or moral strength, it was seen as masculine behavior. These women who exhibited the qualities of a man were admired and called virago, meaning a woman who is like a man. As Christianity spread in the Roman Empire, it adopted virtus to express its new moral vision. Virtus became a universal spiritual disposition, not tied to gender, that embodied the qualities of being a good Christian. Chastity was one of these qualities, but thanks to patriarchy, it remained a moral obligation primarily for women, a spiritual ideal for the clergy, and largely optional for men in general. Men ran the churches and taught women that obedience, chastity, and silence were their greatest virtues. And so, for women, virtue became the qualities expected of them by men. And this was the status quo through the ages. Even when common women found ways to resist or rise, they were still measured against standards shaped by male-defined virtue. It was not until the feminist and women's rights movements in the 19th and 20th centuries that these deeply rooted expectations from women began to be questioned more publicly. These voices against patriarchy gradually dismantled traditional gender norms and transformed women's roles, rights, and recognition in society. But there's still a long way to go, and the struggle continues. Even today, assertive men are seen as leaders, while assertive women are seen as overbearing. A man with multiple partners is a stud, but a woman with multiple partners is promiscuous. That's not just bias, it's virtue at play. So why should women not be virtuous? Well, for starters, because etymologically, virtue means manliness. But more importantly, because virtue refers to rules laid down by men to subjugate and control women. This is not to say that women should not be chaste, or strong, or whatever else they choose to be. This is simply a condemnation of their choices being dictated by male-defined standards. And even though some women in the modern age have attempted to reclaim and redefine virtue for themselves, it does not erase the word's inherent patriarchy. Virtue still has the masculine vir in it, the same vir from which we get the word virility, which exclusively refers to male sexuality. We cannot turn a blind eye to that. And remember the term virago, with which ancient Romans admired women who exhibited the qualities of a man? That word endures in modern English as well. Now it means a bad-tempered, domineering, and aggressive woman. In other words, a woman with the traditional qualities of a man, because of the vir in it. It's a pejorative word, calling out women who do not behave the way men expect them to behave. How can one pretend that the word virtue has nothing to do with masculinity or patriarchy in present times, when there are at least 2 other words in contemporary English testifying to that fact? Women do not need virtue to define themselves anymore. They are more empowered than ever to redefine not just how they're seen, but also how they see themselves. It is time for women to choose or create language that reflects their truth, their power, and their self-defined values. It is time for women to break free from the prison of virtue and embark on a path to liberation and self-expression. More power to women. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider giving a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. If you want to support the channel, please go to the link in the description.